Hi there, it's Sarah from Inspire Tarot. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're doing well today. Let's see what message Spirit has for us. First card out is the Seven of Cups. So the Seven of Cups is a card all about false idols and distractions, where we're lost in fantasy. It's essentially a card of being very seduced by the ego, and we get into this chaotic state of mind where we can't make a decision. We kind of lose our clarity and we get very drawn into the hypotheticals of the ego, and it can feel quite a distressing place to be. It's almost like we can't find peace and we don't know where to put our mind or how to think. And it's basically a form of escapism where we've got too many choices and we just become completely indecisive and looping in hypotheticals. But we have to come back to the memory that our salvation is within, is in listening to the Spirit and learning to trust our gut. So in this card, it depicts really that we have all these external cups in the external world that are all tempting us to see salvation as being outside of ourselves, but really salvation is within, in our own thinking, in our own belief. So yeah, this is a wonderful reminder with this card to not fall foul to false idols. We will do over and over again on the spiritual journey, but always to pull the mind back and to remember where our power is. The Justice card is a card about natural law, showing us that God rules the universe, so the law of love rules the universe. So we never have to worry about being unfairly treated or anyone else being unfairly treated, because that's not the way it works. Everybody's having the lessons they need. Everybody is creating the things that happen to them, essentially, for their greater good. So one of the things that I've noticed on my spiritual path is that the lesson repeats and it gets harder every time when we don't learn it. So, but we're always given new opportunities to learn, and every time we have a prayer, we ask the Spirit, I want to heal this, then we can expect that what's going to come up in our experience is exactly probably what we don't want, but it's always going to be an opportunity to show the universe that we can act differently and we can transcend the issue and see things differently. We're always seeing things from a higher perspective. And yeah, so the Justice card is very much showing us that God is merciful, and we have to accept the consequences and understand that what we think of as morality from our human perspective is not accurate at all, because it's always skewed in our own favour. We always think we're innocent and the outside party is the issue, but that's never the case. That's always our interpretation that comes from essentially from a place of guilt, because we want to feel the innocence that we are, but we also believe that we have all this badness within us. We feel stained and evil. So we project out these issues and then we see them as outside ourselves and try and correct them or think they need correcting in the external world, but that's never the case. But with the Justice card, we can really see that we're never treated unfairly. We just need to see everything with the Spirit and forgive ourselves and everyone for the confusion of listening to the ego, because the ego is very complex and a nightmare, as we know. Now, the Queen of Swords is a card of, so the kings and queens have mastery over the suit. So the Queen of Swords has mastery over the mind. The queens are usually very introspective, which means they're very in tune with their inner world. So this means all about having inner boundaries. I don't really like the word boundaries, but being sure about our values and what is right to us and what is wrong to us, and we're always refining these values within. As we become more conscious, we become more loving and more open, more understanding. We have more tolerance of ourselves and more tolerance of others, because we realize that when we're intolerant, it's always from a misunderstanding. And yeah, as we go through our healing, we realize that everything is actually unbelievably simple, and that when I think I'd read something about worthiness, saying when we're at a lower level of consciousness, when something happens to us that makes us upset, we will analyze the heck out of it, trying to convince ourselves that we're innocent and the other person is to blame, and all the ways in which they were bad and we were right. But this chap had said, the more we get into our spiritual journey, the more that something comes up that upsets us, we just accept that it's not that we're unworthy or that we need to defend ourselves in any way. We just need to accept that it's coming up for healing and not fight it. So I thought that was an interesting way of looking at something. And simplicity is definitely of the spirit, because love is simple, love is one, and any complexity is of the ego, and we just kind of need to remember that before we get sucked into its merciless ideals. So the Queen of Swords is all about being true to ourselves, being very authentic, also very fair to others. But I think of this card as relating to true empathy, and that it doesn't, it's a no-nonsense kind of card. It speaks the truth without any candy coating, and it can lack emotion. But by the time, I think the Queen of Swords is somebody who's a bit of a straight shooter. But as long as we're authentic and speak from the heart, then we're always coming from a good place, because we are authentically love at our core. So yeah, I often feel as though for women, especially in Western culture, that we're kind of socialized to be soft and gentle and nurturing and people please. And many of us have to learn to toughen up and to understand that we are as worthy as anybody else. And that, you know, we have a right to speak up, and we should never prioritize somebody else over ourselves. Especially when we're healing, if this is something that we're working on healing, that we have to learn to prioritize ourselves and to even understand what we want and need. So yeah, this is a good card for that. And the next card out is the Five of Cups. I have to move these down. So the Five of Cups card is all about disappointment and regret, where we feel very pessimistic and stuck. And this is often this card often represents how we feel when we don't speak our truth and when we do prioritize other people. It can be, I think this is supposed to be one of the saddest cards in the deck, I've heard it called. And yeah, it's these painful things that really push us to grow and heal. I know when anything sad has ever happened to me, first of all, it kind of breaks your heart, and then you start to get angry, and you go through the stages of grief where you basically want to start taking your power back, which aligns with the Queen of Swords, where we very much need to speak our truth and stand up for ourselves. And that doesn't mean putting anybody else down. It just means seeing everyone as an equal, with an equal right to share their truth and be as they are. But depending on our upbringing in earlier life, we can have a tendency to believe that we don't have these powers, especially when we're on the healing path. We're usually taken on quite a heavy caseload when it comes to healing and learning. So yeah, we need to give ourselves grace, as we're always going through these dark feelings, but they always push us to grow. And we need to remember that every time we feel pessimistic or stuck, it doesn't feel good. And the reason it doesn't feel good is because it's not true, the perceptions are not true, and that we can always take our power back, because our mind is master of the universe, ruler of the universe. Well, the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is a card all about our intuition, about attuning to our inner self. So quite often after the Five of Cups, we do need the High Priestess. We need to turn within. We need to look. We need to tune in with the spirit. and understand our higher knowing, which aligns with all of these cards. These cards all fit beautifully together. So yeah, the High Priestess is a very mystical character, usually very psychic and intuitive, very focused on enlightenment and following our instincts. So yeah, we should be looking out for symbolism and realizing that there's messages for us in the environment all the time, and we're always being guided and shown what we need to know with whatever we're stuck with. The Spirit can get messages to us in so many different ways, through people, through the media, through things that people say to us, through things that we see, through thoughts in our mind. There's so many different ways that the Spirit can get messages to us. So it's really to just be very aware that these messages are coming at us all the time. And when we keep our focus and our purpose in the front of our mind, then we're kind of alert to information coming in that's helpful. And we do know when we get the information we need, because we feel that resonance. And it's that resonance that we're kind of looking for that's very important. And as soon as we hear it, it can feel quite exciting to know that we're being guided, or that we've got someone to help, something seemingly to help us. When we can feel like we need help a lot. Next card is the Empress. So the Empress is a card of kind of like the divine feminine. I know there is no divinity in the genders, but I like to think of the divine feminine as the feminine energy that's kind of very consciously on its healing path. So somebody who is actively focused on awakening and being an example to the world and trying to heal. So yeah, the Empress is all about rebirth. This is a really beautiful card actually, where she's kind of stood in what looks like a lake where lotus flowers grow. And yeah, she just looks very serene, but also very focused on evolving and giving back and being very nurturing, which we do need to be to ourselves and to others on this path. So all the traits of the Empress, being very kind of relaxed, being very receptive, understanding that we can just relax. Everything that's happening to us is happening to us for our good, and it's our perception of things happening to us that seems wrong, that makes us feel like things are going wrong, but nothing is ever going wrong. It's just our interpretation. And the Empress kind of realizes that she's completely taken care of by the Spirit, and she can just trust. And the Empress is so trusting that she can lean back and help others. She's very nurturing and very supportive, so it's kind of the most powerful feminine energy card in the deck, which is beautiful. These cards are very beautiful, by the way. Nice colours and very stylish images, which I like. I even love the back of the deck of the cards. It's all my favourite colours. The Six of Wands is all about victory and recognition, usually about success after struggle. When we focus our will and we stay in our self-belief, we really do have to harness our energy towards our goals and stay in balance. And remember that we are supported by others. And when we've set an example, other people do follow, and we attract people of a like mind, and we can really use our power to be a gift to others. And there's nothing more satisfying than being the light, being a representation of God. It does say in A Course in Miracles that all real happiness comes from doing God's will. And this is so true. Whenever I align my mind with truth and oneness, then I do feel good. We feel happy and aligned. And we don't have free will per se, because God has created the universe. Well, he hasn't created the universe, but the universe is, the laws that govern the universe are such that we only feel happy if we align with oneness and unconditional love. So we don't have the capacity in our human sense to make being a separate self feel good. God has created it so that only unity feels good, only unconditional love and giving feels good. And we can be thankful for that, really, because it's always guiding us back to who we need to be and what we need to, how we need to behave, how we need to think in order to feel happy. And with the Justice card, we're always being taught through the law of cause and effect, you know, how we need to be. Two cards come out now, the Sun and Judgment. So the Sun is a very benevolent card, all about abundance. It kind of reflects a human being in its very inspired, radiant state, where it's very energetic. We feel very positive, very creative, very successful. We're essentially just in a state of flow. We can see here that it looks like this child is swinging on the rays of the sun, which is a fantastic depiction of the Sun card, and just how we tend to think of the sun as being something bigger and more powerful than us, but really we have dominion over all the planets, over everything, because the mind is powerful and it projects out the world. So we're really learning to flip the script and understand that we are the power. And that can feel quite daunting and almost just unfathomable, really. But as we go and as we heal and learn and grow, we really do come more into contact with our own divine light. And the more we clean the lens, get rid of our fear and guilt and shame, the easier it is to step into our power. We end up with our clarity, that the natural love and power comes through us because it's not blocked by the darkness anymore. So yeah, the Sun is a lovely card. Judgment, yeah, this is all about the process of rebirth and following our inner calling. It's always a call to action to remember us to keep our mind right side up. We're always elevating, we're always healing, we're always releasing our negative patterns or being given opportunities to look at our negative patterns. So yeah, we're always moving forward in our purpose, which means that we're often reflecting on self. If we're focused on our spiritual journey, then we're constantly focused on being in our right mind and looking at everything that comes up that's painful and reminding ourselves that it's simply not true, and that we believe our beliefs are true because our beliefs create our experience. And then because we think cause and effect is reversed, we think that the effect is in the world, and that we're the cause, we can feel very powerless. Whereas when we remember time and time again that the reason the external world plays out as it does, or seems to play out that way, is because of our beliefs, and we have the power to change our beliefs. We do have to stick at changing them. We can't really lapse. We do have to be very tough, but the Spirit will always help us. The Spirit is always giving us experiences that we need to help us heal and go through these constant rebirths and cycles. So yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. We're on it. Let's see what else comes out. Oops. Too many cards. Was flipped over in the deck. be a sign from the Spirit. So yeah, the Eight of Wands is all about making rapid spiritual progress, really. Talks very much about moving forward, almost like an adrenaline rush, or the feeling of falling in love, where we feel so empowered that we just feel as if we can overcome all obstacles. So this is a nice state of being to be in, where we feel almost like Jesus did when he would part the sea or turn the water into wine. It's a metaphor for the power of the mind, and that we're kind of very much in that powerful flow. So yeah, we remember our power all the time, and it makes us feel good. Okay, that's the nice little reading for today. I love you all. Bye.